boil in the bag. You can do some microwave rice, which is what I'm going to use, the quinoa and brown rice. And then, or you could do traditional rice in a pot or something like the Ninja pressure cooker. That will cook rice amazingly. You're going to need some kind of a skillet, some kind of stirring device, and your recipe. So, for the recipes, what you're going to want to do is you can go on to my website, the tcerecipes.com, and you can look up recipes for all of the Cocoa Exchange's products. And I'm going to be using this one right here, which is the roasted pineapple stir fry. And again, for the ingredients list, which is also printed on the event. And the directions is to saute the vegetables, add the chicken, add the chutney, and serve over rice. So it's pretty easy. For our first one, they will get more difficult, but I wanted to make sure that we started off kind of simple. Like I said, I'm making a few substitutions here. I'm not using real chicken for this one. We're going to do a vegetarian stir fry, so I'm going to use the corn alternative chicken type meat product, meatless product. And then I'm going to be using quinoa and brown rice instead of regular white rice. It's a little more healthy for you. A little more protein, a little more fiber, just better. Then instead of the yellow pepper, we're using a red pepper. All right? I really want to thank you guys for joining me here today. So, a little product, unselfish productness. We have on top of my fridge the amount of pottery stuff that I feed my animals. They're little spoiled things. So, let's get on with the show. Find yourself a nice knife. And if you guys are doing this along, you have questions, feel free to ask. Feel free to ask your questions. Make sure that you wash all of your products before you go to cut them. You're going to want to get a vegetable wash or use apple cider vinegar and water to wash them off. I've already done all that for these. So let's start. And a helpful tip that I always use is one of those silly grocery bags that you get from the store with your groceries in it. I just keep that on hand for all the tidbits you need to throw away. It makes it easier to throw everything away. So we have our pepper. You want to push the green part in. That's going to make that go away. And then you're going to grab both sides and peel it open. That's going to leave a bunch of stuff on the inside, which you're going to want to take out all these seeds, the little bulb of new peppers growing. You can actually grow peppers with that if that's what you would like to do. And then you are going to want to cut off, do you see this like lip right here? You're going to want to cut that off to make it a little more easier to make strips with. Do the same on the other one. Hey, thanks everybody for watching. I really appreciate it. And then you see this white vein inside of the pepper right here. You're going to want to remove that. So it's like a skinning motion. You just want to pop that out of there. Get any of the seeds out. Another white vein right there. It's not going to like kill you if you eat it or leave it on there. It's just a weird texture for when you're eating. So when you cut, you want to make sure that your fingers are clear of the blade. You want to keep the blade on your cutting board. And you want to cut by moving the food into the blade, not the blade into the food, because you want to stay in control of what that blade is cutting. And you just make strips. You don't have to go fast. If you're more of a place and chop kind of person, that's fine. If you're a fast chef kind of person, that's fine. We're all different. So ideally you want strips about 1/4 of an inch, but you're going to chop it all up into pieces anyways. So if you want to make them a little funny shaped or size, it's not going to hurt anything. You're just going to have some pieces that are going to be a little harder and crispier, and some pieces that will be a little more soft, because if they're not the same size, then they end up being different cooked donenesses. I don't know the lingo, you guys. If you do, feel free to comment it. I'd really appreciate the lesson myself. So we just get our peppers cut up. Is there any recipes that anybody would be interested in learning for our next, or any products that you have purchased from the Cocoa Exchange that you are dying to use but you just don't know how to use it? Be more than happy if you message me, email me, call me. I'd be more than happy to help you out with that. So if you guys are the type of people who want to get a bowl and put your stuff in a bowl like they do on the cooking shows, then you can do that. I don't like doing dishes that much, so I'm going to push it off to the side of my cutting board and move on. Zucchini. You do not want to eat this part right here. It's a stem, so you cut that off. And normally most people cut off this rooty end because that hard part can be a little tough to chew on. Again, it probably won't kill you, but it's not very appetizing. And then I know a lot of people who like to seed these. So they do have seeds in them similar to pumpkins or other squashes like that. If you have a large zucchini, you're going to want to do that because the seeds will actually start getting big and hard, and it'll be completely unappetizing once you cut it, try to eat it. So we're going to cut this down the length of it. So hot dog, and then we're going to make strips out of it. All right? Again, keep those fingers clear. You do not want to go to the emergency room cutting a zucchini. Here are those seeds I was talking about. They're perfectly okay to eat. You can eat these. These are smaller ones than the smaller zucchinis. But like I said, some people prefer to chop those out. You can just scoop it out like you would on a cantaloupe or something like that. We're going to go long ways one more time. Depending on the size of your zucchini, the size of the bites you like to take. If you're a smaller bite kind of person, you might want to make smaller chunks. If you're a bigger bite kind of person, you might want to leave it as a circle. It's completely up to you. So we're going to get our zucchini cut up into slices. I'm going to do these into 8s. So we're going to cut each half into quarters. Make sure you keep those fingers out of the way, guys. Alright. Then we're going to go hot dog ways on these bad boys, or hamburger ways. Hot dog is long, hamburger is not long. So we're going to keep the knife on the cutting board. We do not want our fingers in the cutting board. Make our fingers way back so you don't get cut, and start chopping. We move the food, not the blade. The blade's job is to go up and down. Alright. And let me do this other half real quick. Again, these don't have to be perfect. You don't have to make sure that they're all a 1/4 inch long. You don't have to make sure that they're the perfect cube size or triangles. I'm not even going to cut this one into 4s. This is going to be in 3rds just because. We're going to do them different sizes. It's okay. And we're going to, again, chop it up.
Blue_creeper14. Hi.
Bite-sized pieces, whatever that means to you.
Yo.
And I don't like doing dishes, so we're going to pile it up over here. So green onions. There's 2 parts to a green onion. The first part is this white part at the end. These roots you do not want to use, so you're going to chop them off as close to the end as possible. I don't like wasting the food, so cut it off as close as possible, and you're going to cut it until you feel like it's not as hard anymore, because you can feel this is very dense, and then it starts to get less dense about right here. So this is the white part of the onion, and then this is the green part of the onion. This is normally what you chop up and put on top of your dish at the end. This is the onion flavor you add to the dish while you're cooking it. So we're going to chop those roots off. Dispose of that. I like to cut the greens off of the white part and do them separately so I can keep them in better piles. that one's very rooty. Rooty tooty. So this morning we had a special treat for breakfast. It was chocolate waffles that I made using the TCE, the Cocoa Exchange chocolate baking mix. There's a recipe on the back of the bag for making waffles with that mix. And we actually had that for breakfast. It was amazing. So I substituted in that the applesauce instead of oil. So it added a little bit of fiber and healthiness to it, you know, for those moms and dads who can't get their kids to eat healthy, or for parents who don't want to eat healthy. All right, we're working on the white onions right now. We're going to finely slice this. So I hope you guys can see. We're going to go very close to the edge and slowly chop it. Just press your knife down. Make sure you're making nice thin pieces. Go as slow as you need to for nice thin pieces. You're going to notice on part of it that some of it doesn't want to chop up. It ends up like a flap with just lines in it. If you have a really sharp knife, it probably won't happen. But that's a more coarse piece of onion, so you really don't want to be chewing on that. So I always throw that piece out and just keep the white onion parts, like these beautiful little rings that we got going on. So our recipe does not explain to us how to prepare these green onions for the recipe. And so I'm going to do I like the onion flavor in stir fries, so I'm probably going to do 4 of these white onion pieces for this amount of a recipe. So we did our red peppers, not yellow peppers. We did our zucchini. Oh, I forgot the yellow squash, you guys. You almost let me forget the yellow squash. Again, it's just like a zucchini. It is a squash. Zucchini's a squash. You want to chop off that end where the stem was attached. You want to chop off the root end where it's all hard and coarse. And then you're going to do the same thing you did with the zucchini. We're going to have it long ways. And then we're going to quarter. These are probably do thirds because it's not very big. And there's seeds in this as well, just like the zucchini. It's literally just like a zucchini, it's just yellow. Little bit different vitamin and mineral makeup on this. This recipe is going to be extremely healthy. Again, I'm doing a meatless recipe. You guys, please, the recipe calls for regular chicken. If you are a chicken person and not a meatless person, feel free to use chicken. Chopping up those squashes. Garbage. Drop on the counter. Squashes. So I was considering having all this prepped for you guys so you didn't have to watch me chop up vegetables, but I was thinking back to when I first started trying to cook and how difficult it was just to even figure out how to cut up some of these vegetables. Alright, so we have all the vegetables. Grab a little bowl just because it's easier to put all the vegetables in a bowl. If you have dogs and you, or cats, I guess, and you like to share with them your food, do not put the onions in here. Pets can't have onions. It's bad for their stomach. It's bad for their digestion. And you don't want to make them sick. So I'm going to put this over here next to my stirring devices, and we're going to get this pan set. I'm going to go, it said simmer. What did the directions say? I'm going to have to wash my hands again in a minute. It says saute. So we're probably going to go with a medium high, a little bit over half. And don't forget to add the grease of some sort. You can use butter. I'm going to use robust extra virgin olive oil because it's amazingly delicious. And I mean, you can get a measuring device out, but like I said, I don't like doing the dishes, so we go like this. And we just pour some in there. About a tablespoon if you want to measure. You don't have to. Another deliciousness that you can throw in here is pure sesame oil. It's amazingly delicious, but a little goes a long way with the sesame oil. So you really, really, really want to be very skimpy on the sesame oil. Just a little bit to give it some flavor. It also has a low smoke point, so that means it will smoke and get nasty, rancidy very easily and very quickly. Alright, let's wait for our pan to heat up. And I'm going to chop up the green onions with you now. While we do that, let me set my phone down and wash my hands because I can't touch food after I touch my phone. That's just gross. Alright, so we're going to grab our green onions. So it's going to be the tops of 3 or 4, just enough so that we can make the topping for our food very delicious and beautiful looking. So, like I said, I don't like to waste food, so we're going to get rid of this crusty end from when they cut it at the grocery store, when they were harvesting it in the field, whatever, wherever they cut it at last. And we're going to get that little bit off, but we don't want to take a lot off. You also want to look for anything that's going to be kind of slimy or black or anything. Let me see if there's any in here that I can show you. There is one. It's kind of not focusing, but it's kind of slimy and brown, and you can see it's dry looking. Yeah, you just cut that out. You don't want to eat that. Alright, so for these, you can cut them very fancily and like French them with a sideways kind of an action. You can make them a 1/2 inch long. You can make them really tiny. All it is to sprinkle a little flavor on the very top of your dish. Okay, so it's going to add a little flavor, a little brightness, a little green, and it'll be a little delicious. So I'm going to go with cutting off that top bit, because I don't remember if I did, because I'm talking to you guys. And I'm going to do about 1/2 inch. I don't know, I'm really bad with measurements like that, unless I have a ruler. We're just going to chop these bad boys up. See, this beautiful pile of green onions that we will use at the end of our meal to top our food. So at this point, I would like to tell you guys about this wonderful product here. This is the Aztec chocolate slab. And I will tell you right now that this is the biggest favorite in my household. Everybody who's tried it so far falls in love with it. It's a dark chocolate, but it doesn't taste like dark chocolate. I know a lot of people don't like dark chocolate. And you can buy the pick and the wood board, and you can scrape off some chunks, and it's got whole cinnamon, raw cinnamon, coarse sugar, and some, I believe it's cayenne pepper in it. And it's a little kick. You can taste the crumbles of sugar and the crumbles of cinnamon, and the chili powder gives it that little whoof. I don't like spicy, but that stuff is amazing. We've got like 3 of them in this house right now because of how delicious it is. And someone's coming to steal some now because he saw that I cut it up. Well, is it good?
I love it.
All right. So, I guess it's time to start cooking. So we're going to take any of the vegetables that you want to cook that, because you can do any vegetables in this. If you wanted to throw some bok choy in here, if you wanted to throw some broccoli in here, you could do that. Celery, any of that kind of stuff. It's literally a recipe that you can manipulate in the ways that you want, so that it ends up a food that you would like to eat. So if you don't like peppers, don't put peppers in there. If you don't like zucchini, don't put zucchini in there. Change it. Put something else in there. You like peas and corn, do that. It's okay. It won't hurt anybody's feelings. You're the one eating it. So I'm going to throw it all in here at one time. But some vegetables you have to cook longer than other vegetables. And you will have to separate them. Like the zucchini sometimes take a little while, but onions and peppers, the more you let them sweat in there, I think the better they taste, so I'm putting them all in together. You really don't have to. And then it does not say on the recipe to put salt and pepper on there, but if you are a salt and pepper kind of person, you just take a little bit of salt, just a little, and take a little bit of fresh ground peppers. Woo! I'm dropping, you guys. Make sure you toss these vegetables after you put them in the pan so that they all get a little bit of that oil on them, so they can brown and crisp up a little bit. Oh, it smells so good. It's delicious. Into my garbage bag. Garbage bag is amazing. So apparently I'm messy cooking. So, some information on rice. You can do a boil in the bag. I think we went over this a little bit when I started, but I want to make sure. So you can do boil in the bag, and you just follow directions. That stuff tends to have a lot of chemicals involved with its processing. Same with, microwave rice. You can have white rice, jasmine rice, quinoa, and brown rice. You can use just quinoa if you want. I like the tricolored quinoa if you do that. Fun tip, I used to call it quinoa because of how it's spelled. See, quinoa. You can use long grain rice, brown rice, whatever you want. You can use a rice cooker. You can use a pressure cooker like my Ninja right here, which I love. You literally can throw rice and chicken in this, vegetables, and just push boop, and it does it all for you. It's pretty awesome. We're just cooking the veggies right now. So, we are just waiting for these veggies to start browning. I tip the pot up because it's generally going to fall down to the bottom when you move it up. So it's easier to mix it without making a big mess, without having to put a lot of effort in if you have a fuller pan. Gravity likes to do its work. Push all the vegetables down and around. It will cool off your pan though, so if you're doing something that you need to keep the pan hot, you're not going to want to hold the pan off for heat. Sorry about that, guys. I dropped the chutney that I'm going to need to throw in here soon. I gotta wash it off. I have my hands again. Alright. It's all wet now. And then a spoon. So about this time, since I'm using the frozen meatless corn pieces that are, it's kind of like a vegetarian chicken is what I would like, because they have ground pieces that are more like ground beef, but this is more like a chicken, and it's not flavored Some of the vegetarian chickens I found have weird flavors to them. Some of them taste like stovetop. There's one that we get that tastes like stovetop all the time. And that kind of gets tiring because then you get the same flavor. But these are frozen, so I'm going to throw these in here now before the vegetables are done, because I want to make sure that the frozen meat is cooked all the way. It has cooking directions on it. Just go ahead and follow those directions for how long to cook it for. And at what temperature and all that good stuff. So putting the frozen meat in here is going to drop the temperature of your pan. So you can turn up the pan for a few minutes or just add another minute or two because you dropped the temperature of the pan. It's up to you. So you guys, this is a pineapple stir fry that we're doing. And the pineapple is actually going to get its name from the Cocoa Exchange's pod and bean pineapple chutney. It's going to be a little spicy. It does include chocolate. You're going to use about 4 tablespoons for this recipe. Let me tell you guys, the TCE product line is ridiculously delicious. I showed you the Aztec slab. I showed you what we're going to be cooking with today. I talked about this amazing chocolate baking mix for the chocolate waffles that we are going to have. We also have cookies. We have bites. The orange bites are amazing. If you haven't tried it yet, you should check that out. My cooking utensil of choice for today is from Pampered Chef. I have a friend of mine who sells Pampered Chef. If you need the info, please let me know. And she actually got me to get these cool measuring spoons, and I'm super excited about them because it moves. So you can do 1 tablespoon all the way down to 1 teaspoon and everything in between. And there's another actual size. Let me stir our vegetables really quick. There's another size of those mixed measuring spoons that they have on Pampered Chef that goes from a teaspoon down to, I think it's 1/8 of a teaspoon, but don't quote me on that. I don't sell Pampered Chef. I don't really remember. I just remember buying those and being super excited about them. Alright, this is looking pretty good. Once we start seeing signs that the vegetables are browning, and this meat's already cooked, so we just got to get it all not frozen anymore, we can add in our sauce. So you're just going to toss in 4 tablespoons of our chutney and finish cooking it and plate it over rice. So I need to grab some plates out, right guys? Because that was one thing I forgot to do. Grab some plates. Hi Chunky, how are you? What are you doing, Chunky Dunk? He's like, I wasn't in the washing machine, Mom. This is my Chunky Dunk. He's almost 2 years. He'll be 2 in February. He's a good boy. Alright, and this is crackling and snapping and popping over here pretty good, so I'm going to give it another stir. Okay, I'm going to show you guys this pot, okay? So, if I would have used the yellow peppers, this pot would have been kind of bland. It would have been the tan chicken, the yellow, and the green, and more yellow. So I threw in that red pepper instead of yellow pepper because it adds that little bit of flavor. It adds that little bit of something that everybody's going to want to see on their plate. When you're cooking, if you want a good general rule of thumb, what you're going to want to do is try to get the rainbow on your plate. So you don't want everything to look the same. You don't want white potatoes and white meat and white bread. That's just going to upset your stomach. It's going to make you not very healthy. But if you go for the rainbow in a day or on a plate or however it is that you feel you like to eat, then you're going to get a lot more of those nutrients, a lot more of the vitamins, a lot more of the stuff that you need to thrive every single day. I wish I could have found some purple peppers. I would have used those too, because that would have looked really cool in here. Normally I try to throw in like black bean noodles or something like that to make that added color change in my food. So, it's looking pretty tasty. Who wants to try this? Did you guys know that if you host a party with TCE with me, you can comment, message, whatever, let me know, that you can earn a ton of free items for, you could get this sauce for free, you could get that slab that I featured for free, you could get chocolate baking mix for free, like, you get points for hosting parties, you get free items, I can do fundraisers, but once this Corona stuff is over, all this we can do online. We can do online parties for sure. I can do another cooking class for you and your friends. We can do a cocktail hour or happy hour. We can do a soup and salad party. But I can actually bring you, once we're in person again, I can bring you samples of a plethora of our products. I pretty much own almost all of them. That's how much I love them. I know Miss Amanda, who I think is watching live, she is, hi sister. So she got the honey sesame sauce. I think that's what it's called. Watch out, Chunky. He likes to lay in front of the fridge. So she got, what is it called? Yeah, the honey sesame sauce. And this is a big favorite in my family because you literally just throw this in a pot, just like we're going to do with this pineapple chutney, and you can make a meal. It's delicious. All right. It's looking about done. You see how, we're going to take a look. You see how these are starting to break up a little bit. You see smaller pieces in there. You see how the vegetables are getting squishy. That means they're almost done. The onions have browned. You can't really see it on this video. But they're in there and they're browning. Alright, the steam's going to fog up my screen. Alright, let's bust out our wonderful tablespooner measuring device here. Open up our chutney and add our 4 tablespoons. This has chocolate in it. Every Cocoa Exchange product has chocolate in it. 1, 2. This is not an exact science, you guys. 3. The best way I know how to cook is to kind of wing it. So this recipe says 4, but I did 2 full zucchinis, or a zucchini and a squash, so I'm going to add 2 more just because I want to make sure there's flavor on everything. It's not going to hurt anybody. Alright. So we add our sauce, and we get to mixing it. And I'm going to turn down the heat to probably low, or medium low, just because I don't want this sauce to burn on our product, on our food. Some people like burnt, grilled flavors on their food, and you can leave it at a higher temp and it'll do that. I'm not one of those people. Get the mix in. Oh, it smells good. Now, I'm gonna cheat today, and I'm not making rice from scratch. I'm not making quinoa from scratch. So I'm gonna pop this rice into the microwave. And it says it's 1 serving per container, so I need to do 2 of them. 90 seconds in the microwave. Squeeze. Vent and pop in for 90 seconds. Okay. Squeeze, vented, 90 seconds. Give this another stir. If you have questions, you want to sample, you want to try something, please let me know. This smells amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I have not made this recipe before, you guys. This is my first time. Ah, I'm excited. We're gonna eat. We're gonna eat some good. Get my plate set up. And once the rice is done, we will be good to go. That's everything. That's everything, you guys. I'll show a picture in the comments of the completed.
All I can say is, damn, it smells good in here.
Here is our pan. I'm gonna post some photos. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you do next time, feel free, share my links, add people to my group, get them involved, because I'm gonna post a whole bunch of stuff. I'm gonna go through, and anybody who comments on this live video after it's posted, I'm gonna end up actually giving you guys something. I don't know yet if it's gonna be a pet product from my pottery business or if it's gonna be a cocoa exchange product. It might be a bottle of this pineapple roasted chutney. I don't know. Comment.